Alright folks, thanks for visiting the TheIntelFrog Report. It's Monday, November 28th, 2022. As always, let's start off over here in ADSB Exchange and see what we've got cooking. So far, 287, 288 military aircraft up. That's right on par for normal, anywhere between 250 and 300. Seems to be about average for the day, for the middle of the day. Looks like Air Force 2 is on the move, coming from Los Angeles, likely heading back to DC. The staff plane behind, SAM 704, press plane. Let's see what else we've got up. We've got several E6s up. I think 4 is the last count I had. Oh, 1 landed. So we've got 3 E6s up and 1 E4B. The E4B is the National Airborne Operations Center, otherwise known as Night Watch, also known as the Doomsday Plane. This is the plane that the National Command Authority, consisting of the Secretary of Defense and the President, would board in the event of a nuclear attack on the U.S. This is the aircraft that would be aloft for however long it needed to be to direct the counterattack. E6s are on a Boeing 707 airframe. They're a communications node for our submarines between the Navy and National Command Authority and our ballistic missile submarines. They have several modes of communication, from very low frequency, ultra low frequency, extremely low frequency, all the way up to high frequency and SATCOM. So there's 3 of those up currently, from 67 out of Pax River, Acme 37 out of Tinker, and Skim 67 out of Tinker as well. "25 tankers up. That's about on average. That's KC-10s, extenders, KC-46 Pegasus, and KC-135 Strato tankers are all pictured here. Not a whole lot going on over in Europe. We've got 1 SAM flight that came out of Joint Base Andrews, it looks like, yeah. SAM 470. Not sure who's on that one, or where they're heading. I'll look at the ACARS messages here in a little while and see if I can decipher them, see where this guy's heading to. Reach 872 looks like it's on the same flight path, but it just came out of Germany there. So the other day, on the 23rd, we had an interesting visit from one of the E6s. It came down from NAS Pax River and went to Tinker, but while it was here, off the coast of Jacksonville, it got very, very low. I saw it at 525 feet. But it shows 825 feet here. That's extremely low for aircraft that size. Doing some loops and a couple of low-level passes. There was nothing on marine traffic on AIS indicating a ship or something along those lines underneath them. So we're not real sure what was going on. It was definitely a little peculiar. We had a MITO event a few days ago. The minimum interval takeoff. It's where one takes off right after the other. This was for a Joint Forcible Entry Exercise 22 out of Nellis Air Force Base. Last night, this small plane, nope, it's reloading on me. Lost it. Okay. Let's see if I can find it again. There we go. Small plane flew right into a transmission tower. 2 people on board, no injuries. Incident happened about 5:30 in the evening. They had to cut power to over 120,000 people, and took several hours to do that, several hours to effectuate the rescue. But finally, just after midnight, they pulled both people out of the aircraft. I'm not sure if the aircraft is still up there, or if they were able to get that down. I'll have to check on that. But both people were healthy, no injuries. Let's take a look at TFRs and NOTAMs. Looks like TFR-wise, POTUS is going to be heading to Saginaw, Michigan. Let's see, tomorrow, 1:30 to 7. Let's see here. Where's all my... Yeah, let's get rid of that. Bear with me. I'm still learning how to use ForeFlight here. Trying to toggle. There we go. No TAMs as well. There we go. So we got the TFR for Naval Station Mayport here. Also a NOTAM for Naval Station Mayport. Their drone, their MQ-4, is going to be active, it looks like, all week long. 28th, 29th, 30th, and the 1st. So that's what that is. Let's see, any other TFRs or anything that stick out here? This is a warning area, Whiskey 168, danger area. That's an area that units out of NAS Key West come up and work in, military operational airspace there. Let's see if there's anything else that catches my eye here. These are all military operational airspace as well. Yeah, everything looks normal. So let's take a look around the services. There was a mass shooting in Colorado Springs last week. If it weren't for an Army vet and a Navy petty officer that were at the club, it would have been far worse. The 2 heroes subdued the gunman, who was armed with multiple firearms, and they held him until police got there. 5 people were killed, 17 were wounded total. Would have been much worse if they hadn't stepped up. So Bravo Zulu to them. In the Navy news, the Hawk Mark 54 kit, torpedo kit, has just declared initial operational capability. Hawk is high altitude anti-submarine warfare weapon capability. It's basically a bolt-on kit. You can see this top section here just bolts onto the torpedo. And instead of having to drop down to 100 feet to drop the torpedo, they can be all the way up to 30,000 feet and drop the torpedo, and this will guide it up to 40 miles to the target before it separates and drops the torpedo into the water. You can see here just a little graphic on how it works. It comes out of the P8 bomb bay. GPS can aid in the flight until it gets to within a close enough range of its target, and then drops down to the appropriate altitude, and the kit separates as the torpedo enters the water. So that'll be hitting the fleet rather soon. This is the kit that Monkey Works claimed struck the Nord Stream 2 pipeline. The Mark 54 torpedo is an acoustic torpedo, an acoustic homing torpedo. So unless there was some kind of acoustic signature coming from the pipeline, that would be very, very unlikely. Air Force news. Hawaii Air National Guard and Royal Australian Air Force participated in a bilateral exercise Global Dexterity 22-2 at Royal Australian Air Force Base Amberley in Queensland. Involves C-17 aircraft from Australia and the United States undertaking a series of air mobility missions. Marine Reserves eye small boats for nimble littoral operations. So the Marine Corps is undergoing a radical shift in ethos and warfighting doctrine. They've programmed, or it's called Force Design 2030, and its goal is to prepare the Marine Corps for a near-peer battle with a peer state like China in the Pacific, in the littoral regions of the Pacific, which littorals are shallow water. To further that, the Marine Corps has divested all of its tanks, got rid of them all. It's divested a large portion of its artillery, and it's stood up a couple of littoral regiments. I'm not sure what the littoral regiment does, or how that differs from a infantry regiment or any other kind of regiment in the Marine Corps. But the reserves are looking at small boats to make themselves relevant within the Force Design 2030. In Coast Guard news, Coast Guard rescued a missing passenger from the Carnival of Valor. This was off the coast of New Orleans. Passenger was reported missing on Thursday afternoon, and the Coast Guard launched a search, and they discovered the person about 20 miles south of Southwest Pass. The cruise line reported the missing passenger around 2:30, and around 8:25 p.m. the air crew discovered the man in the water and hoisted him up to the helicopter. So 6 hours in the water. That had to have been scary, but great job, Coast Guard. And finally, let's look at Space Force. The X-37B from the U.S. Space Force, U.S. Air Force, returned after 908 days in orbit. That's almost 3 years. What it does is classified. We don't know. They're not very forthcoming about what it does. The program itself is classified, so it's hard to keep it a secret, though, when it comes back in and it creates a sonic boom. So they've acknowledged the existence of the X-37, but as far as what this uncrewed vehicle does is up in the air. All right, let's take a look at what's going on around the ports. In this graphic from Maersk, we can see Savannah, up to 15-day waiting time. Houston, up to 12 days waiting time. Oakland, 10 to 12 days waiting time. Now, this is Vancouver, British Columbia. They're up to 38 days wait. You can see we've got a sizable amount of vessels stacked up outside of Savannah Harbor still. This had gotten as high as 42, and I've seen it as low as 10. They've got 11 or 12 berths in here in Savannah. They're trying to process them as quickly as possible, but there's some construction that's hampered the progress of the port. Let's take a look and see what's queued up outside of Houston. We can see dozens of tankers here and some cargo ships. Houston has been kind of in gridlock for several months now. But you can see all these ships that are just waiting to offload or load. Red is tankers, green is cargo. Circle means it's not moving, and the arrow indicates which way it's moving. And let's take a look over here at LA and Long Beach. So it's fairly busy. We've got a few vessels stacked up at the anchorage, but not too many. But it looks like most of the vessels are in port. All right, folks, that's going to be it for this episode. I'm still working on trying to find my format, trying to include relevant information for y'all. So if there's anything that you would like to see me cover that I don't cover, feel free to leave a message in the comments, or you can always message me on Twitter, at TheIntelFrog on Twitter. All right, you guys have a good rest of your day, and we'll see you on the next one.